You don't really know. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, get to do. Good to go. I'm gonna try to get the pool inside now, but I'll come back and yeah. So I can see. Yeah. I can see where that.
We'll call to order the City of Douglasville City Council public hearing for tonight, which is Monday, May the 20th, 2024. And I will turn over the meeting after I call this to order to the Finance Committee Chairperson, who is Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome.
I'd like to call to order Finance. We have one item tonight, a presentation of the proposed City of Douglasville budgets for the fiscal year 2024-2025.
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Karen Callan will handle this.
Good. You want us to come around, Ms. Callan? Or?
Oh, no, ma'am, you're fine.
Okay, we can
Yeah.
look on our tablets. Okay.
Yeah, you're fine.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening and welcome to our fiscal year 2025 public hearing for the budget. The main purpose of this is for citizens to provide comment to the elected officials, and this provides you the opportunity. The first slide, I have a brief presentation. The first slide just gives you some general highlights over the main points of our budget this year. We have an overall 5.43% increase in our general fund. Our amphitheater operations, we're continuing the momentum, and we do have some additional talent programmed in the general fund budget this year. Retention and recruitment efforts, human capital is our most valuable resource. We do have the fire service agreement escalation included in this budget and service delivery. That is what is causing the 1.25 mil increase in this current budget. We have operational costs for Jesse Davis Park, the $25 million investment on the north side. And then we have in our enterprise fund, our sanitation fund, some inflationary effects of providing services. So we're looking at increasing some rates in our sanitation fund starting in July. So a quick overview of our budget process. It starts in January with a strategic planning session. We had ours January 31st and February 1st. Then the department directors develop the budget based on the goals and objectives of the elected officials. The city manager meets with the finance department and all the department directors to decide what stays in, what goes out of the budget based on the strategic plan. We have our 2-day public meetings and budget hearings with the elected officials. They lasted 2 days where each department director presents their budget and their goals and objectives. Today we have our public hearing and then we'll have our final adoption May 30th. What makes up our general fund budget? Our general fund budget is $51,459,000. 36% is general government, and that is legislative, city clerk, city manager, finance, legal, IT, human resources, building and grounds, community relations, and engineering. For parks and recreation, 14%, we have West Pines, Jesse Davis, Hunter Park, and Fowler Field. And then public safety is 33%. Capital summaries of what's included in this budget. We have laptop replacements, Faro replacements, case emergency call poles, interview room cameras and AV upgrades, a mini excavator, renovations of the Ike Owings Community Center, which is at Hunter Park, and our cart path bridge repair at West Pines. The personnel highlights we have a 3% merit increase, which is down from the current year of 5%. We do have a compensation study included in the budget, enhancement to our retirement program, and an 8% health insurance cost increase. Anything above that we receive from the insurance company will have to be cost shared with the employees. We do have a quarterly incentive program included. We have reinstatement of our tuition reimbursement program, capped at $5,000 a year. We have a continuation of our Christmas bonus program, sick leave buyback program, and a 10% pay scale adjustment included. Our general fund revenues are primarily made up of property taxes at 39%, local option sales tax at 20%, and other taxes at 7%, which is franchise taxes, Georgia Power, Greystone, Bell South, insurance premium tax, and TAVT tax. We have kept our personal service cost at 58%, which is our target is below 60%. Personnel services make up our full-time, part-time, overtime, FICA, retirement, and health insurance. Moving on to our enterprise fund budget, we have a decrease of 18%, and that is because the current fiscal year, we had 2.2 million programmed in for the recycling center. In this fiscal year 25 proposed budget, that is not recurring, so that is a decrease. For our special revenue grant funds, we do have 2 street resurfacing grants programmed in. We do have an RFP out right now, and so we're looking at possibly the resurfacing project to begin in July. Our conference center budget, we do have some renovations programmed in the budget this year. We had to use $692,000 in fund balance, but a decrease in the overall budget of 21%. Our special revenue funds total $7.6 million, a decrease of 8.39. Excuse me, wrong slide. Yeah, 8.39% total for our special revenue funds. Our general fund debt, we have West Pines Golf Course, Georgia Power Underground Utility. That will be completed in November of 2024 for a decrease of 58.31%. And then the amphitheater debt for total debt appropriated of $1.1 million. For our 2016 SPLOST fund, we have about used all our funds there. The only funds remaining are transportation funds of $4.8 million, which will be used for the resurfacing project matching funds. For 2022, in our $51 million SPLOST program, we have received $9.5 million currently, and that is divided up in between 35% for transportation, 35% public safety, facilities at 20%, and parks and recreation at 10%. That concludes our notes and highlights for the public hearing. Our budget adoption dates are Thursday, May 30th at 5:30 p.m. at a special called meeting. You can find this budget in the full document online on our agenda system if you want to go over the 2 days that we spent with the elected officials. And also you can find it at douglasvillega.gov. And we welcome any comments from citizens.
Yes, anybody that has comments, come forward, please.
Good evening.
All right. Hello, everyone.
Good evening.
So I have some concerns. I understand we need to definitely grow in our budget because our community is growing. However, I definitely want to, as someone who is in housing, it is definitely becoming a little unbearable about the amount of taxes that we've increased. So I understand we're needing to go up. Please take in note the massive increase that we just had. I know we need to go up on our mill rates, but for some of us, we've had a $3,000 tax increase just on our property bills. And so, which is making a significant impact when we're trying to resell these homes because people literally cannot move into the house just based on taxes, which insurance rates have also gone exponentially high. And this is just gonna cause an additional impediment on those challenges for those homeowners. We've seen the massive flock to Douglas County with institutional investors. That caused a panic sell now that those houses' values had to recorrect. So now with the millage rate hike, that is going to cause additional challenges for as we're trying to build out in this community. But for our resales, it is going to make a huge challenge for us. And it has already proven that. So I definitely, you know, if it's going to come with that price increase, then can we please get the awareness of our officers to actually enforce laws that are on Riverside Parkway in terms of the tractor trailer parking that is causing road erosion to our roads. We need to see what we're paying for in Tributary. I know I may just be one resident. but I pay a lot of taxes, and I mean a lot for my 2-bedroom house. So I can only speak on my behalf, but for someone who sells a lot of houses in this area, it is a major issue. So, thank you.
Understood. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, and I'm also for the decriminalization of marijuana. I'm just throwing that out there. Thank you.
We'll have your name and address, Ms. McCoy.
Hey, as my neighbor standing next to me, but I am in 9938 Ashton Old Road. Thank you.
What was that last part? You said decriminalization of, we didn't hear that.
Of marijuana. I'm just
Oh,
saying.
gotcha. Okay, yes.
Good evening. My name is Vincent Irving, 3154 Borough Road, Douglasville, Georgia. I agree with everything Amy said, and just want to ask that you all just be mindful of the massive increase that we did receive last year. I know part of that was the county not properly appraising properties, but when it all got figured out, we still had a pretty large increase. And I do want to commend you all for the work that you do. You do amazing work, and we have great services, but we are paying a lot more than what we were paying a few years ago. And so just ask that you all be mindful of that as you consider the budget this year. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman. Thank you so much. Thank you, citizens. We appreciate your comments. Our CFO and Assistant City Manager, could you tell us how much the tax increase would be on, I think you had a figure on a $300,000 or $250,000. I know the minimum income has gone up for the county. It's 6 figures, like 113 or something like that, and 85 for the city. But a lot of the increase for taxes is the tax commissioner and the tax assessors. It is not the city of Douglasville. So for the city of Douglasville, if you can just, for FYI, get the information for how much the increase would be for the annual increase for the citizens' home for the millage rate.
Yes, ma'am. On a $350,000 house, we calculated about $14.58 a month. And we are hoping that the state of Georgia does continue the HTRG grant, in which that will reduce that taxable value. The main driver of the proposed tax increase is due to the service delivery negotiations that we had with Douglas County. Fire services and animal control are costing us an additional $3 million this year that we had to program in the budget. So we'll have to generate that revenue to be able to pay Douglas County. Now, ideally, they could lower their taxes and it would be a net wash. So that's what we're hoping.
And one thing I'll add, Mayor, to the citizens who are concerned about their homestead property and their taxes, I would encourage you to look up House Bill 581. It is the floating local option sales tax homestead for homesteaded properties that will put a cap on your increases. So that will be on the November ballot for a statewide election.
If we can just get over this one hump this year with the increase in the services, then hopefully going forward, we should be.
And Ms. Cowan, you did not add that in addition to the increase in fire service costs, there was a reduction in our sales taxes.
Yes,
Yes.
during the
So,
local
yes,
option
so there are
sales
two
tax.
different decreases in the budget from Douglas County that we have to make up.
Yes,
And we have
correct.
combined services that we have with the county, which is fire, EMS, animal control, streets. And so that's something that we don't have control over. The county sets that rate, and we have to pay, and because the city is inside of the county, so we have to
Right.
pay to have those services.
And I totally understand that. And again, this is Amy McCoy, 9938 Ashton Old. Just an understanding, and I can only speak bias of the tributary as of right now. I've already had to sell my other home, again, because of the outrageous taxes. We're less than 1/10 of an acre. You know what I mean? If we're only talking about housing value, yes, that's one thing, but our streets are only so long when we're talking about what's in front of our property. You know, our infrastructure is a little bit different than someone who may have multiple acres and they have miles of road, right? So we're already getting that bigger brunt on less than 1/10 of an acre, an exorbitant amount. So I get it. I mean, I look at different communities and who's being taxed what. And so, like I said, it's a little bit different when you're looking at it from institutional investors than when you're looking at it as actual owner occupants. And I understand the county or the city only really makes majority of their taxes based on commercial basis. But we're talking about you won't have the talent for these companies if we continue to outprice them. This is why we're turning into a more rental community versus home ownership, because we're not incentivizing our homeowners. We're really looking at it as, well, we need to make more tax revenue. We need to make more tax revenue. Well, it doesn't help us if we keep discounting those that we have to prolong waiting on that tax digest to be able to. I can go on and on. I'm just saying, look, the way my wallet is working, life is lifing, and I have to keep in mind for what's going to happen with my neighbors. And so if we continue this path, you're going to have a lot of panic sales, but you won't be able to resell them because, again, the taxes are just so high.
And also, one thing to note is that the taxes are made up of, the school board, the county, and the city. The city is the smallest portion. And, $14.58 a month is what we're calculating on a $350,000 house for the city's portion. But when you do see your taxes, you're going to see the school board and Douglas counties. Any other comments? All right, thank you.
Yes, are there any comments from anyone on council? Other comments? All right, so at this point, if there are no other comments from citizens in the room, will our next meeting where we vote, will we have the same presentation and opportunities to talk? And we love hearing from our citizens. I remember about 9 years ago, standing up in this room, similar fashion. So, but anyway, Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to close the Finance Committee meeting. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, Madam Mayor. That's all we had today.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to our Finance Director and Assistant City Manager and citizens as well. We appreciate your comments, and we're taking those to heart. I will move on then to any other business in this special call meeting. I don't see any.
Yes, ma'am, we need an executive session.
Okay. Well, I will open the floor for a motion to adjourn to executive session to discuss property acquisition. Thank you. I have a motion. Is there a second? Second. Thank you. It's been properly moved and second to adjourn into executive session to discuss property acquisition. All those in favor of this motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. We are adjourned into executive session to discuss a property acquisition matter. Adjourn into executive session.